today? How's the audio? Good? Not too loud, not too low? I don't know how many people were out partying last night. Looks like we got a pretty good crowd here for the morning. I'm surprised, but welcome. It's great to be here. And you know, there's something special about events for me, especially when you're early into an industry or when you're doing something where there's really not a lot of other people in that market yet. There's something magical about coming to an event. Am I right about that? Who agrees, right? How often are we at home alone geeking out at whatever we're passionate about? And you know, not many people understand it when we're early. But here we are, we get to connect face to face. So would everyone just please give Mo and Miranda and the entire event team a big thank you. Give them some noise. And if you got just one idea or one insight that you could go home with today that's going to positively impact your crypto investing, your involvement in the industry, just give me a show of hands. Who got at least one insight or one idea? Awesome. Almost everyone. I was going to say, it's my duty to at least give you one during this presentation, but I'm going to give you one more because I think everyone has their one. So I want to make sure the energy's high, right? It's the morning, it's day 2. Everything's got to be bigger on the second day. And so we're going to play a little game if that's okay. Can we do that? Yeah. Okay, so here's how this game is going to work. We're going to have 2 teams. Team 1 is this side of the room. Team 2 is this side of the room. And the way this game works, it's really easy. We're going to have a scenario, and you're going to hear a scenario, and then you got to make some noise. And whoever's loudest wins. That's it. Okay, so let's practice. Team 1. Team 2. All right, that was the warm-up. Okay, so imagine this scenario. It's not 2030, it's not next week, it's not even tomorrow. It's today that you find out, for whatever reason, Bitcoin just crossed $1 million, and it sent the rest of the crypto market with it, you know where, to the moon, right? To the moon. You take out your phone, you look at your portfolio, and you notice a couple more zeros. What's your reaction, Team 1? All right. Team 2, same scenario. All right. It's pretty close. You know what? I think everyone's a winner here. I think we're all going to make it. Okay. I'm a dad. That was my dad joke. I had to get it out of the way. So, all right. Thanks. Thanks for bringing the energy up. Let's kick off. So I came here today to talk to you about what I believe is untapped prosperity. And I want to share specifically some DeFi wealth building strategies, especially if you're a more conservative investor. I think that's something that we don't hear that often enough in crypto. Everyone hears about 10x, 100x, degenerate type of investing. But I think there's a big need for a focus on conservative investing within crypto. It's still aggressive. So that's what I want to talk about today. But first, just understand that I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a regular guy who's passionate about crypto. I got into the markets 3 cycles ago. So I've witnessed 3 bull markets, 3 bear markets, and I've seen some things that have lasted. And that's what I want to share with you today. So I'm sharing insights and knowledge that I've gained as an individual, that I've shared with others in a community that we've built. But it's not financial advice. And so as you hear this, if you're not sure what you should do for your situation, you should always consult with a professional, ideally somebody who is at least pro-crypto. The other disclaimer here is that, with any opportunity, there's a potential for earnings. But of course, myself or anyone cannot guarantee anyone any outcome. We all have to do the best we can with the information we get and, apply that to the market. So I believe there's an abundant opportunity in front of us for everyone in this room, but of course there's no guarantees in life, right? We do our best to place our bets accordingly. So, just so I don't leave anyone behind, I thought I'd just define DeFi really quick, right? If you ever heard of DeFi, it amazes me how many people don't really understand DeFi. They may not have even heard the term, yet they've been in crypto. And DeFi stands for decentralized finance. What does that mean? In my opinion, it's a parallel financial market. We've got a traditional financial market that we're all used to that's run by banks and custodians, right, that handle funds and transactions. And DeFi changed the game. It created a parallel market where all these transactions and all this activity is happening without this custodial oversight. Here we go. And DeFi, for me, I see it as true financial freedom, but not in the sense that you might think of. We hear that term financial freedom and we think of having plenty of money. But for me, what I mean when I say DeFi equals financial freedom, it's the freedom to transact. Right? It's more than just the potential for financial freedom when it comes to our personal lives, but it's the freedom to actually transact globally, anywhere, anytime, and that's because it's predicated around this ethos of being open source. Right? It's technology that's open and transparent. It's decentralized. It's not controlled by any one company or corporate entity. It's permissionless. You don't have any special criteria, or you don't have to ask permission to use it. Anyone can go ahead and use it. It's anonymous. It doesn't require you identify yourself and submit documentation and expose what the value of your assets are. And it's inclusive in the sense that anyone can use it. There's no, a lot of countries, unfortunately, people are unbanked, right? Or people are getting debanked. We heard some stories about that this week. DeFi is truly inclusive. There's no restriction to it when it's done correctly. And as far as how big is DeFi as a market, you look at the total crypto market cap, it's $3.4 trillion. DeFi, the size of the DeFi market cap within crypto is only 170 billion. So it's really, really tiny. It's 20 times smaller, right, than the overall crypto market. And so there's this exponential growth that we see happening with funds moving towards DeFi markets. And that's because people come into crypto, they get exposure, they learn about it. And once you buy crypto and you understand, okay, now I can take custody of it, that's your first gateway into DeFi. And so people will naturally move towards DeFi. So it's going to be a booming industry for decades, at least one decade, probably multiple decades to come. And I believe it's a hidden digital gold rush. And what I mean by that is it's just not talked about. You don't hear a lot of people talk about DeFi unless you're already in that circle. No one outside this room, no one outside of the DeFi community understands what DeFi really is. They know two things, crypto, Bitcoin, maybe they've heard about Ethereum and Solana if we talk about mass market. And over the last 9 months, for example, we've celebrated how we've seen tons of capital come in through exchange-traded funds. Right? We have Wall Street having easy access to crypto for the first time ever. We saw over $110 billion come into Bitcoin. That's exciting. It's amazing for all of us. Meanwhile, there's this sleepy little parallel financial market called DeFi. And if you look at the inflows into DeFi, I'm sourcing this from DeFi Llama, which is kind of like the Wikipedia of DeFi. It tracks all the activity going on all these on-chain markets. In that same period of time, where we had over $100 billion come into crypto through ETFs, we had 80 billion in that tiny little market. It's 20 times smaller than the overall crypto market. We had almost the same amount of inflows into DeFi. Isn't that amazing? And nobody talks about it. Nobody knows about it. You don't hear about it in the news, but it's just happening quietly in the background. And so it's truly untapped. I really believe it's untapped. And so, yes, Bitcoin has crossed 100K. But the fact is, it's been over a decade of crypto innovation and Bitcoin hitting 6 figures, yet we're still early, less than 7%. In fact, 6.8% of the world owns any crypto. That means there's 93% of the world that does not own crypto. It's almost 7.5 billion people still have not gotten into the crypto market. Specifically in the US, that's 17% already in crypto, about 46 million people, leaving 83%, or another 225 million, to come into the market. So yes, Bitcoin has crossed $100,000, but we still have 225 million people who have not yet participated in these markets. So it's super early. So we are here, right? If you look at this timeline, we are here, and we're moving through this adoption curve. That's what that little hill is there. And all of us in this room, we are the crazies, right? We're the 1% crazy. We're the early adopters and the early innovators. Right? And there's this chasm. There's this concept called crossing the chasm, and that's how we get to mass adoption. Right? We need to help the masses break into this, and so there's some barriers that they need to overcome. And so we're on this journey to cross this chasm and get to the first early majority and then the later majority. Right? That's when we'll achieve mass adoption, and that's when we'll see these numbers flip, right? Where there's only 17% left not yet in crypto in America. I think that's a few years in front of us. And so yes, we're so early. Okay, so some other fun facts. Let's talk about our demographics, at least in the US. Here's the distribution of wealth by age. All right, if you look at this, you'll see that it's Gen X and the baby boomer generation, right, that have 51 and 26% of all the wealth in the country, respectively, and leaving the Gen Z and millennial population, which is about 23%, with the remaining amount of wealth. Right? If you're not really a pie chart person, you can look at this more visually. Some people are more visual, right? I like to see things visually. You can see here, this group of people, right? They're the 77% with all the money, right? And they're within the ages of 44 to 79 years old, okay? Meanwhile, the later term senior citizens and the younger folks, they've got the other 23% of the wealth in the country, right? So under 43 or over 80. And what's interesting is this group also, at least in the younger demographic, they've got the least amount of money and the most amount of debt, right? So hold that thought. Let's look at crypto buyers by age now, right? So complete opposite. Are you starting to see a problem? Does anyone else, am I the only one? Do you guys see a problem with this? Right? So if you're not a pie chart person, hang on, we'll break it down, we'll make it simpler. Right? But it's the complete opposite. We've got 77% of the buyers being millennials, right? No one in Gen X and in the baby boomer generation is buying crypto. It's about 6%. So let's look at this. I like this visual better. Who likes this visual better? Yeah, I think it's easier to understand, right? A big pile of cash with that group of folks. They're 6% of the buyers, okay? And this tiny segment of, of the market with, again, the least amount of capital, the most amount of debt, that's 94% of all buyers in crypto are in this demographic, right? So we got a problem here, right? So maybe we're making it up in volume, in numbers, right? Let's see. Here's the population breakdown by age. We've got Gen Z 35%, millennials 20%, Gen X 20%. It's pretty evenly distributed for the most part. And so let's simplify this one, right? If you group this, now the problem becomes really evident, right? We've got about half, right, 55% Gen Z and millennials on one side, and 40% on the other side, Gen X and baby boomer generation, with all the cash, yet we've been focused on the half that's broke as an industry, right? Instead of looking at, we've kind of held a blind eye to the Gen X and the baby boomers, yet they're the half with 75% of all the wealth in this country. So that's not, to me, a good idea if we want to advance the whole industry, if we want projects well capitalized. We're speaking to the wrong people, or maybe that's not the fairest way to say it. Maybe we're just leaving out a half that we should be paying attention to, and that's kind of the argument that I'm making here. So we've had consequences to that, right? So because over the last couple of years, the market has predominantly been propelled forward by this Gen Z and millennial generation, who's really just looking to get ahead. You know, we're tired of being constrained by bureaucracy, corruption, right? We want freedom, we have debt, we want to become financially free and things like that. We want to see the world change for the better, yet we're kind of losing that DeFi ethos. In some ways, I think we've set it aside because we've been distracted and we've been frustrated and we've been asking questions like, when Lambo, right? When airdrop, and when pump, right? When pump. And by the way, if you don't know crypto culture, these are not misspellings, right? This is how you spell when in crypto land, right? Crypto culture is hilarious. If you hang out in Discords and Telegram group chats, you have a good time. So this is not a spelling error. If, in case anyone's seeing this for the first time, think this guy's nuts. But anyway, the consequence, right? If we think about the Gen X and the baby boomers, the consequence tangibly is that only 3 million out of 46 million people in America in today's market are participating in this DeFi revolution. And why is that, right? Because in our effort to build this decentralized tech that's open source, we've expected people to learn about this through GitHub and docs, right? Reading docs online. We've expected people to embrace permissionless and anonymous wallets, right? The ability to transact and use new technology that's confusing and weird, like ledgers and MetaMask, right? Hot wallets. We don't do this anywhere else. This is a brand new thing. And in our attempt to be inclusive and not restrict everyone in the world from participating in open source finance, I think we've alienated people and we've broken down the ability for this generation, this demographic to connect, because we've restricted ourselves to Discord servers right? Something originally designed to connect gamers in a really distracting and unfamiliar way. And so it's no surprise to me that the reaction you get from most people in the Gen X and baby boomer generation when they see this stuff is, this is overwhelming. It's confusing. Anyone in this room ever try to break into DeFi or use this stuff? And you kind of felt that way if you're in that age group? Yeah. And Discord. Don't get me, I love Discord, I know how to use it, but I mean, I can't imagine the average Joe in this demographic coming into there and thinking, now this is a sense of community, right? It feels kind of sketchy. It feels really sketchy. And it's riddled with scammers and stuff. Hey, in the back, can we get my slides back? I think, never mind, we got them. Okay. There we go. Okay, yeah, so I think we have a huge opportunity here to take that 94% of the Gen X and the baby boomers and help them go up this adoption curve, right? That's the opportunity here. And that's why our brand, Prime DeFi, exists. We want to help everyone unlock the power of DeFi so that they can build generational wealth and just participate in this financial revolution. And so, again, my name is Dan Ryder. I didn't introduce myself earlier. I live in Puerto Rico with my family. We love it there, and over the last couple of years, we've helped, since 2002, over 1,500 individuals, mostly in the Gen X and baby boomer generation, participate in DeFi. 97% of them had no DeFi experience. 29% of them, before they got started with us, maybe bought some crypto, and about 36% even had zero crypto holdings whatsoever. And we've been able to help them break into the space. Actually, some of them are here today with us. Love you guys. So if you're in this demographic and you feel like, man, I don't know if this is for me, if I could do it, just talk to any of them and they'll convince you otherwise, that this market is for you. So I'm super proud of what we've been able to do as a community. And I think we've had success because we've done things differently. So we've approached community and learning and tools quite differently. We've built, we kind of flipped the paradigm for what you see in DeFi on its head. So I want to show you a little bit of that in this presentation. So let's contrast what we do with what exists. Here's Discord. This is an example of Discord. Right? If you've never been in a Discord server, here's what it looks like. We're going to hone in on the right there, and we're going to look at who's hanging out in this particular server. Right? When we zoom in, we see things like username 0x_Wes, right? Does that sound like somebody that Uncle Larry wants to be friends with, right? When he says, hey there, Anon, right? Uncle Larry doesn't get that. So Uncle Larry's my avatar for somebody in this demographic. But so that doesn't jive. That doesn't feel like community to Larry, right? So that's not going to work. So what we did was we built our own private network behind a paywall, where people can come in and connect with real individuals, and it feels, love it or hate it, kind of like a Facebook group, right? That's familiar. It's familiar to this generation and to this demographic. And so if we want to build trust and community, we've got to cater to what's familiar if you want to make it easy. Otherwise, you're just going to make it hard, right? So we built our own network for people to connect and actually get on and meet each other face to face, right? We use Zoom calls and things like that. Instead of telling people, hey, just go read the documentation, right? Just go to GitBooks and just sit there and read until your head explodes. That's not going to work, right? Uncle Larry doesn't have time or patience for that. So Uncle Larry needs to see exactly how to do it step by step. So we built courses, literal over-the-shoulder training on how to do this, right? And we don't just leave it to courses. If somebody actually gets stuck and they need a buddy, they need to jump on a call with somebody and get that assistance. We have that resource for folks with a form of virtual coaching. So we've taken that approach, and we've done that through what we call the Prosper Success Path. Super proud of this. We put this together after learning and growing as a community, seeing where people got stuck. We transformed our training into this path we call Prosper. We take people through these phases, and we actually surveyed, we have about 142 respondents on this survey, right? And so people, again, no experience in this industry, 30% of them never even bought crypto. So forget even doing anything in DeFi, right? We're talking about just being in crypto in general. Like I have a Coinbase account. Maybe a third of them had that, right? And so here's the results. 75% in less than or equal to 1 month, got actually into their first DeFi yield opportunity using stablecoins in under a month, right? So pretty phenomenal. And actually 29%, almost 30%, were able to do it in about a week, right? So when I tell this to people, they think I'm crazy or they don't believe me, but we have the data to prove it. And so we're really helping people go through this adoption curve and not only walk, but really rocket ship up past it, which I'm super excited about. And obviously I can't teach this entire process to everyone in this room today, but we are publishing this in a book called The Hidden Digital Gold Rush, Decoding DeFi. It's coming out this spring. And so I have a gift for you. If you want to scan this QR code, we're going to give everyone in this room an early advance copy. And so you can scan this code, and there's actually a couple more gifts I'll talk about. So if you can't see the slide, I know it's kind of hard in the center. We do have our expo booth out there. You come stop by, and we'll make sure you're able to access this. So just a little gift for you. And so I want to switch gears now and talk about our conservative approach to wealth building, right, using DeFi. And so, again, if you think about this generation and what we're used to, and there's a lot of wisdom in this, right? One thing you want to do when you start off is do no harm, right? And so, oh man, my slide got a little bit messed up. It's going to mess up this joke. But, CYA, right? What do you want to do? You want to cover your... Oh, you weren't supposed to say it. My kids are right there. But yeah, okay, second dad joke, probably the last one. But anyway, yeah, we want to cover our assets, right? And in conventional finance, we have things like FDIC. Well, we have FDIC because we rely on custodians, and this whole concept of DeFi is a new paradigm. Custodians aren't required. And so how do we take these vehicles that we need for safety and assurance and bring them over to DeFi? Well, it is possible, and we have innovators in the space like Nexus Mutual, for example, that offer an alternative to what would be considered traditional insurance. This functions like insurance, only operates on a DeFi protocol. It functions in the way that you pay a premium, and in the rare event that you have a claim to pay, you can actually get paid out on any losses. So you can sort of buy your own version of FDIC by participating in DeFi. Less than 5% of the DeFi market, we talked about $170 billion in DeFi, about 5% of it is actually covered, right? Because who's participating in DeFi? Younger generation, they don't think of things like, maybe I should insure my positions, my funds. Well, this is something you can do. And this is something that really appeals to the older generation, right? You want that peace of mind. You didn't work hard your whole life just to get hacked, right? And so we need things like insurance alternatives in the DeFi landscape. And so we have them. And so one of the first things we do is we teach people before they get serious with their portfolios and participating in DeFi is to actually protect yourself with insurance. And this stuff actually works. Again, a little cut off on the slide, but Nexus Mutual, for example, they have a capital pool. They're capitalized with over $250 million. Right now, they have over 108 million in active covers, right? And they've already paid 18 million in claims from people using this product. So it is real, it works, and it pays out when you need it. So, once you know you're protected, well, then you can go start participating in these DeFi markets. And you have two choices as a crypto investor. You can buy and hold, right? Or you can actually use and leverage your assets and make them productive and earn a yield or a cash flow. And that's what we teach in our community. And so just by lending your crypto, you can earn this yield. If you're playing with things like stable coins, right? USDC, USDT, you can see yields. We've seen these yields historically in multiple market cycles now at this point, ever since DeFi has existed, ranging from 10 to 20%, extreme lows, maybe closer to 5%. But no matter what, in every market I've seen, the stablecoin yields are on par or better than most yields you can get on dollars outside of DeFi. So it's just quite amazing to be able to pull this kind of yield on essentially dollars, right, without any exposure to the market as you would be normally invested in something like the S&P. Even with things like blue chips, Bitcoin derivatives, Ethereum, we routinely see yields in the 20 to 40%. Again, no guarantees, remember the earnings disclaimer, but I've been in this game for a couple of years now since DeFi was birthed, and I have not been disappointed yet with my expectation to find yields within these ranges for these assets. And then if you're more adventurous and you're investing into altcoins, if you leverage these assets, you can see yields that are even crazier, 40 to 80%. I know the super degenerate version of DeFi, you see insane 1,000% yields. Usually those are rifled with problems, and we stay away from those because we're more conservative. But you can see pretty aggressive yields with quality assets and altcoins. So one thing we do as a community too is we provide tooling. So we've worked on something recently called the APY Atlas. This is a custom tool that just makes it easier for people to find these opportunities, because it's a pain in the butt to go scour all these on-chain marketplaces. And so we kind of pre-vetted and put this into a little app that you could search. You can search by token category. You could say, hey, I'm interested in AI coins. I'm interested in gaming coins. What yield opportunities are there? You can filter by these. And then once you find a pool that you like, you can click into it, and it will show you a couple things like the APY performance, how much yield is this thing generating. We give you preset templates you can use to actually enter into the opportunity, and we'll even show you the price points that you want to be aware of on the low and the high side to maximize how much yield you can actually extract from these opportunities, all within the app. And so I want to give you another gift here. So if you're somebody who's already pretty competent with DeFi and you want a cool tool, you can get a free 30-day trial to the APY Atlas. Again, if you scan this QR code. This is a tool that we have not, until this very moment, actually offered to anyone outside of our community. We've built it exclusively for our community, and now want to give it to you. So go ahead and scan this QR code. Another gift you'll get from us is we have a daily e-letter called Accelerated Yields with our take on the market and what's happening. So it's a really good e-letter, so we'll bonus that in for you as well. So again, scan this QR code. You'll be on the list for our pre-release to the book, as well as the trials of the app and our e-letter. And so, I think in closing, we have a huge opportunity in front of us. We have an opportunity to stop ignoring this generation and open our eyes and help them get into the space. We could take that 6% and turn it into 60% if we do things a little differently. And that's what I think the huge opportunity is. Because DeFi is financial freedom. It's the freedom to transact. And we want to encapsulate this ethos, but we want to help this demographic understand it and access it. And so if you're a builder in the space, I have a call to action to you, and that is, think about this pearl of wisdom here from people smarter than me. African proverb, if you want to go far, go together. Right? In our efforts to be decentralized, permissionless, autonomous, open source, let's make it easier and more familiar. Right? In our efforts to be anonymous and inclusive, let's make sure we're also building community for this demographic to come into the space, because otherwise we're going to be waiting a couple more decades. Right? If we think that this is not an opportunity for that generation, I think it's the wrong way to think about it. We're going to be waiting for wealth to transfer 2 decades from now instead of helping this generation get into the market right now. Right? And if this market had that generation included, how much higher would the entire market cap be? How much happier would all of us be? So we got to help them get into it. So that's my charge to you if you're a builder. Think of ways that are a little non-traditional compared to what we've seen over the last 2-3 years. Help them get into the space. And if you're in this room or if you're watching this on video at some point and you're in that demographic and you're intimidated by DeFi and hot wallets and ledgers and all this crazy jargon, I promise you that you are not too old and it is not too late. We've demonstrated that in our community with over 1,000 people at this point, that they are able to do it. So don't give up on yourself. Get in this market. It's hot. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. There's only so many of these that come by, and those of you in this demographic, you know that. You know that. You've maybe seen a thing as big as the internet 2-3 times in your life, right? This is one of them. You're not too old, and it's not too late. And we're here to help. Prime DeFi, our mission is to help you not only walk, but we want to help you propel over this gap, right? We want to help you cross this chasm and break into the space so you can participate in it. So thank you so much. It's been an honor to be here with you. Enjoy the rest of the day. Scan this QR code if you want our gifts and come talk to us. Appreciate you.